Hey, what's up? This is Jason Drone. Welcome to GSD Daily number 71. And today and this week, we're going to talk about fuck ups. We're going to talk about failing. We are going to talk about mistakes. And we're just generally going to not have a whole lot of fun if you're me. And so, and here's why. So over the weekend, I downloaded a book. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks, where I have. Anyway, last summer, I kind of went on this personal development journey. And it was before last summer, but I started getting my shit straight like last summer, towards the end of the summer. And I didn't post on social media a whole lot. I didn't do too many outward things. And it was just kind of one of those things where I just kept closing myself off and off and off. And we'll go into that at some point. We'll go into why I did that maybe, or the mistakes that, were made, or, any of that stuff. But basically, what happened was, I was going through this personal development journey, started listening to like Anthony Robbins, and I read these two books at the same time. In fact, both of them are downstairs. But so I read SuperBetter, and I read Anthony Robbins' first book, the one he wrote in like 1987. And oddly enough, I read them at the same time. Like one was downstairs, one was upstairs. I just picked whatever one, was available to me, and, I'd read it. Well, what happened was kind of odd, because I was going through this Tony Robbins book, and it was talking about, changing your mind, changing your patterns, doing a lot of NLP, doing all that stuff. And at the same time, I was reading SuperBetter, which is how to live like gamefully. And I was going through this particular section in SuperBetter that was about these challenges. And I was like, well, listen, so for those of you who know my story, I was a Pepsi truck driver 14 years ago. So I went from high school, started working at Pepsi, making good money. Then I was sitting in the back room one day, repacking these cubes, or repacking like 12 packs. So basically, when you go to a grocery store and somebody drops a 12 pack, those cans get put into a basket, and they get shipped back to the Pepsi plant. Well, once they're back at the Pepsi plant, there's usually a back room. And all it is it's a huge room, and it's got, a bunch of cans, there's bins and containers of like loose Pepsi cans that are, chilling, all over the room. And then there's a wall of shelves with 12-pack containers and cubes and, all of that stuff. And so basically, they didn't have anything to do for me that day. So I'm sitting on the pallet, packing these cans. And I'm like, motherfucker, I had a 4.4 GPA in high school. I decided that I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to go out and work. So I landed at Pepsi, making $60,000 a year, driving a semi-truck at 18, 19 years old. And I thought, at the time, it was great money, and so I'm sitting in the back packing these cans, and I'm like, I'm smarter than this. I can do more than this, So that night I went and put in an application to go to a local college, Mercier Northeast. Now I live in Northeast, actually, but I, put the application in, whatever. I was accepted, ended up going to school full time, and I'm driving a Pepsi truck full time too. So the Pepsi truck, I'm working 50, 60 hours a week driving a Pepsi truck. I'm going to college full time at the same time. And the one thing that got me through that, because, all in all is 80, 90 hours a week. Like, I've always worked a lot. So I pull the Pepsi truck into the college. I park it long ways, in the college parking lot. I go in, take class, and then I come back out. I jump in the Pepsi truck and I drive away, and then I continue on my route. And the thing that got me through school was the fact that this particular college was trimesters. So it was 10 weeks, only 10 weeks of college at a time. So all I had to do, I had to take like 3 classes, 4 classes sometimes, and just concentrate on them for 10 weeks. Anybody can do anything for 10 weeks. anything. So if I had to work my ass off for 10 weeks and then I got a little break and then I had to do it again, there was at least an end goal. I at least saw that end goal. I saw the end of that 10 weeks. Then before you know it, I'm in my second year of college, in my third year of college. In my third year of college, so I was in college for 5 years, finished with 2 degrees. I started my business, third year of college, quit Pepsi. So that was 14 years ago, 14 years ago, which leads me to now. So getting back to my original SuperBetter Tony Robbins story. So I am reading this Tony Robbins book and I'm reading the SuperBetter book at the same time. And Tony Robbins is basically teaching you how to remove blockers, remove limiting mindsets, program your subconscious so that you can start moving ahead. At the same time, SuperBetter is talking about these mini challenges to do. And I was like, you know what? I could do anything for 10 weeks. That's how I got through college. I could do anything for 10 weeks. Well, now I know that I can do anything for 30 days. So I just made up my mind then. So last July, it was my first goal was to stop drinking pop. So stop drinking pop. It sucked because I was drinking a lot of pop. So every month it was kind of like my thing. Like, got to noon, start drinking pop, whatever. Didn't drink a whole lot of water. So in July, I stopped drinking pop, and then successfully did that. So I stopped drinking pop. Then in August, I decided to stop chewing tobacco. So I did that in August, and that was fucking hard. And I'm not even gonna get into that on this show, but September, I decided I just took 2 things that I really like, because I really like chewing tobacco and I really liked pop. I just took 2 things away from myself. So now I need to give myself something back. So I started waking up early. And I started, I basically was waking up at 7:30, 8 o'clock every morning, going to bed at midnight, So what I did was I stopped watching stupid ass Netflix shows at the end of the night, after my wife went to bed at like 9:30, 10, and just decided to go to bed with her and wake up in the morning and replace all the stupid shit that I was consuming at night with reading and stuff in the morning. So September, that was my September challenge, to start waking up early. So I started waking up at 6 or 6:30, and then 6, and then 5:30, and then 5. And then I settled at 4:30 being the time that I, kind of woke up, and I was good waking up when I went to bed at so now I go to bed at 9:30 and wake up at 4:30. Have ever since last September. So that was successful. That was a successful 30-day challenge. Then in October, I was like, you know what? If I could stop drinking pop and I could stop chewing tobacco, 2 things that were what I heard were really hard. And they were fucking hard, and then I gave myself back time. So I literally gave myself like 3 hours a day in the morning before the rest of the world even wakes up. I'm reading the news, reading all the shit that you post, that you see me post in the morning, like on Done For You and the groups and all that stuff. All of that stuff is literally posted before 5 a.m. So I just, sign up to Hootsuite and I post boom, 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 boom. So if I see something that I think you guys are going to like, I post it. And so all that shit is scheduled. Like today's articles, all scheduled. It's done. I mean, everything you see from me today, minus this video, it's all going to be done. So I gave myself back time. And then in October, I was like, you know what? We're just going to fucking go for it. So in October, my goal was to lose 30 pounds. So, and I fucking had no idea if I was going to be able to do it. No idea whatsoever. I was able to do it when I was younger. So there was one time when I was like 18, I ended up losing like 90 pounds in 90 days. It was like 18, 19. You can do anything when you're fucking 18, 19. Now being 39, or I'm 39 now, I was 38 last year. No idea, maybe not, so ended up going through October, lost exactly 30 pounds. So now I'm down about 50. So I, kind of leveled off through the holidays and I dropped, and I'm kind of like leveled right now because of the pandemic and having to stay inside and all of that stuff. Man, I'm fucking like, this is odd for me because like people close to me know this, some of it even, but not like a whole lot. So So this 30-day challenge was really the biggest, kind of the stepping stone into getting everything back on track. And so in the meantime, so I set some very ambitious goals. So one of the goals that I have this currently right now, and for this year, is to read one book a week. Well, in reading one book a week, you are like, there are some books that I've started that I put down, not many, but a couple. So I post stuff sometimes to Facebook, but my wife and I just started this book called over the weekend called The Power of Vulnerability. So this book is why we're doing this week. It's why we're doing basically the week of fuck ups. So the things that I did wrong in my business and in my life, because there was one particular thing that she shared in the book, Dr. Brene Brown, and that was the world is full of how-tos, and the world is full of roadmaps, and which is true, and it's all. I post a lot of that stuff. I post so many how-tos and so many roadmaps, and oftentimes, because that's how my brain thinks, and that's what I look for, and that's what I learn from. Is I learn from how-tos, I learn from roadmaps, I learn from processes, but a lot of people don't. And if all you share is the how-tos, and you don't actually get to the foundational piece of everything that is, kind of getting. It's not troubling, but if you don't share some of the story and some of the mistakes and some of the issues and some, like all of that stuff is equally important. It's as important as the how-to. So that's why we're going to go through and talk about some of the issues that I have been through, kind of, and the bigger mistakes I've made. So all of that 14-minute litany to basically introduce this idea. I'm going to share this week the mistakes that I've made in the hope that you don't make them too. So we're going to talk about things that I fucked up and tests that have failed and things that I didn't even know that I was doing wrong until I looked back and then saw that I was actually doing them wrong. So the first one, the one that I'm going to share with you today, is this idea. And it's a very prevalent idea right now. Everybody really, really cares, and everybody's talking about pivoting. This person pivoted. This business pivoted. They went from, doing one thing and they pivoted towards a new direction. They went from, selling this, making fucking t-shirts, and now they're selling masks. Awesome. Now, here's the problem with pivots. When you pivot too many times, or when you do too many things, then your customers lose track. And you don't ever actually give, if you don't give your idea, your thing, enough time to grow and to breathe and to, or enough spend, like ad spend, to grow and to breathe, then it's going to fail. And it's not going to fail because it was a bad idea. And it's not going to fail because it didn't have great execution. It's going to fail because nobody fucking knew about it. So that's the nature of the internet. Nobody knows about the shit you're building until you tell them about it. So my friend Mike Hill, he posted a long, long time ago. It was kind of just a throwaway Facebook post, but I actually took a screenshot of it and I revisit it every once in a while. And it's this idea that everybody starts a business, they create an offer, they create a product, they write a book, whatever. And then they think that they made it. This is their thing. They can put it out into the world and people are going to buy it. When the truth and the reality is nobody even knows it fucking exists. You need to not only create the thing, bottle up your genius, but then you also need to write the posts and you need to throw up the ads. You need to write the blog posts. You need to incessantly tell people about it for the next decade of your life in order for it to actually sell. There are things that do go viral. There are things that take off. That stuff absolutely happens, but it is very rare. It's capturing lightning in a bottle, So what I still do on occasion and have done a lot of in the past is I create a bunch of shit and then I don't ever give anything room to breathe or room to grow, or I don't ever pay enough attention for it. I mean, like literally, Some of our software, we use it for clients, but we don't necessarily promote it like we should. Same with books. Same with some courses every once in a while. It's like, my past is littered with products and offers and courses that I created, that I spent a lot of time creating because I love the creation part. But I didn't actually do anything to help them grow. So we have a content curation software called Curately, and we've made some money on it. Like we've done well, but nobody in my audience has seen anything about it for the last 3 or 4 years, because like we basically moved it inside Access, and it's kind of going through some recoding and stuff. But at the same time, like that me saying that is a fucking excuse. Literally, you just witnessed it. The fact is, it's great software, it works well. It's in this transition, and I'm letting it be in this transition, even though it doesn't necessarily need to be, because I'm focusing on doing other things at the moment. So in looking at the things you're creating, the businesses that you're growing, look at the products, that you're creating. There's some people that have like 1 product, 2 products, 3 products, and they just go full board into that. So there's a thing that Brendon Burchard, I remember like a decade ago when he started really ramping up his business, way before the millions of people followed him. He used to share that his goal was to do and launch 1 thing a year, 1 product a year, 1 launch a year. And me, the incessant creator, I remember thinking, Jesus, you can create 18 products, you can create 18 businesses in a year. But here's the thing. Brendon Burchard now has 1 million fucking followers, millions, billion, like 100, 10 million, 20 million, 30, whatever his number is. It's ridiculous. His model was the right model, where you build something and you stick with it and you try different things and you grow it and you think about it and you ponder it and you figure out all the different ways that you can bring somebody in. So way back then he was doing he launched a product called, it was Experts Academy. Then it was Total Product Blueprint. And basically he would launch a business, launch a product, and then hang out, and basically just do that thing for a year. Then the next year he would launch another product. 5 years into his career, he had 5 products. And then he started doing some books, then he did the Millionaire Messenger and he started writing some books and stuff on the front side, which is awesome. But he gave each of his offers room to breathe. Now, I am kind of in execution mode right now. So part of like me talking through this idea with you, is really just that, is talking through it. Because right now, we're creating a lot of content. We've got some books, we have some core offers. So everything that we are doing now is kind of being added to the matrix in the way that it needs to be added to the matrix. So that we have some front ends and then we have some upsells, so we have some, or you can start at the top and go down. So everything is being patterned correctly to sell and to be sequenced the most. And we're of course using like, sales funnel best practices and all that other stuff. I am not creating things to then just let them flail about. So like a long time ago, there was 1 week where I created 3 digital products. And I remember being so excited about that because basically I went through and I brainstormed 3 products on a Monday. And then like Tuesday, I ended up creating all the slides for those 3 products. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I created all the videos for those products. And then I like edited the videos through the weekend. And I thought I was a badass. I was like, 3 products, 1 week, done, Collectively, looking back on that, I wasted a week's worth of time because none of them sold because I didn't give any of them a chance to sell. I didn't have any ads. I didn't do paid traffic. I don't know. I might have emailed the list maybe once about each one of them, or maybe twice, and, kind of linking to a sales page. And then that was it, whereas if I look at some of the more successful things that I've created, so Scriptly being one of them, all of the done for you service offerings, being the most successful. It's the things that I continually revisit. Scriptly, I literally promoted Scriptly incessantly for 9, 10, 12, 15 months after we launched it. So Scriptly is like 4.5 years old. Now it's part of Access and email copy app and everything. But I literally, every week was an email about Scriptly. I did monthly bonuses. I had like this entire month marketing calendar where literally all I did was I just created new front ends for this fucking piece of software. Like that is giving your offer room to breathe. That is growing a business. That is doing what you can to grow your business, grow your offer. And Scriptly was our most successful piece of software. And in looking back, was it the most successful because of the promotion, or was it the most successful because it was a great piece of software? My guess is that it was the most successful. My guess is both. My guess is that both things contributed to it being a very, our most successful piece of software. But at the same time, I put mental bandwidth and I put effort and time and energy into it. The same with our sales funnel stuff, same with, any done for you service offer. We crush those things because not only are they great offers, but we continually make them awesome offers and we continue to make them awesome front ends. So that is my mistake number one. Making sure that you are creating things and then giving them enough room to breathe, giving them room to grow, putting marketing around them, writing blog posts and content. Because if you don't do that, then you will always fail. Your products will always fail. My products always failed. The ones that I didn't do anything with, I created to create, but I didn't focus on them enough. Those are the ones that failed. They will always be the ones that failed because a good idea is not enough. Great execution is not enough. Having a sales funnel is not enough. What do you do with it? And that at the end of the day, that's what you need to answer. It's not having sales funnel, it's not having a website, it's not having a product, it's not having a book. It's what do you do after those things are online? It's not enough to put a retail shop somewhere, on some street corner, if it doesn't get any traffic, nobody's gonna be driving by, nobody's gonna see it, so your digital business is no different. If you just kind of throw up your signpost and that's it, nobody's gonna buy it, so you have to put the effort into the marketing and the funnels and the traffic and the blog posts and all that other stuff. So that is fuck up number one for GSD dailies. Some of that felt really good to talk about and some of it not. So tomorrow we're gonna do something different. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about fuck up number two. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but I literally just came to this morning. As I was running or jogging. I can't classify what I do in the morning as really running. I run. I jog. But yeah, and I was like, well, let's talk about some of the mistakes that I made, and then what people can do to avoid them, and we'll go from there. So if you like today's episode, I hope you did, then give it a like or a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, go to doneforyou.com/GSD, and then we can answer them in a future show. And if you would like to get on and talk about an action plan call, get on and talk about your action plan for your business and how you can avoid screw ups like the one I just described, go to doneforyou.com/start. And I'll talk to you soon. All right. Thanks. Bye.